Monday. You're back for another episode of Paper Route. I'm Corey Holmes, and with me, Ashley Nicole Moss and Brandon Marshall. How we doing, good people?
Hi. Happy Monday.
Yes, ma'am.
There's a lot going on right now. Just
Hey, swing your mic, boss man.
Swing my mic. Help me out here.
We good.
It's a lot going on, Ashley.
Are you? What are we doing?
I know.
It's a lot going on in
with
sports
the
right
paper?
now. I'm just catching up.
Oh, okay.
What do you think the biggest news of over the weekend was? Give me your top three.
It's probably the story.
I think I know where he's going.
Okay.
Right there.
I know where he's going
flip
with
the paper
that.
around.
No, you flip it around. There's nothing there. It's just a crossword.
No, right there.
Right there.
Yeah.
That's the biggest story.
That's the biggest
Big
story.
story.
Yeah. You're. Why are you reading the crossword?
What
puzzle?
about the Lakers? What about the Lakers?
No.
The Lakers gonna make a run.
Okay.
Hey, let's make a bet.
No, I'm not.
Starting the show
I'm
with a bet,
done betting on this show. Corey, help me.
So yeah, Brandon alluded to it. We're going to talk LeBron and the Lakers. We'll also get into the NBA and their new collective bargaining agreement. And there's been a new class in the NBA Hall of Fame, But first, we got to start with what that paper was saying, right? So 2023 women's national champions, your LSU Tigers, right? So head coach Kim Mulkey and the LSU Tigers won actually their first national title of their program. And Coach Mulkey, she actually has won her fourth now. She actually just won, again, the first one
She was
with
at
LSU.
Baylor?
Yeah, she's won 3 previously with Baylor, which was huge. And, of course, their star player, Angel Reese, she finished with 15 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists, recording her 34th triple-double of the season, right, which actually is the most in women's history. So, guys, what are your thoughts, man? LSU, they got it done. How do you feel?
A couple things here, Ashley. There's a lot we can talk about here. Obviously, the controversy surrounding this game, and it's a lot of people think it's a bad thing. I actually think it's a good thing, right? Just how we treat Angel compared to the other one, right? Caitlin, right? Is it Caitlin?
Caitlin
Clark.
Caitlin Clark. There's also the business around women's basketball. I feel like this is a perfect time for them to really sink their teeth in and actually get more exposure around their game, bring more eyeballs, more partners. There was a lot of action, not only over the weekend, but the entire tournament, right? Is it time for our women's basketball tournament, talking about March Madness, to be separated from the men's? Could it stand alone? So there's so much we can talk about here. Obviously, I know you probably want to get some things off your chest like everyone else in the sports world, but man, I loved this weekend. I loved the game. I loved every part of it. I even love the conversation now. I think it's good for women's basketball.
What do you think is good for women's basketball exactly?
Listen.
I'm trying to understand the rationale here.
How many people are talking about women's basketball right now? How many people are talking about this tournament, right? There's no different. What's the difference between what happens in, our men's leagues and men's sports than what's happening here, right? There's a lot of controversy every single week, every single game, every single day. So I think this is a huge opportunity for them to continue to push the conversation forward and also bring in more eyeballs and more partners.
I'm gonna push back against that. I don't think anything about this is a good idea, a good thing. The conversation that we're currently having, I think that if we were just discussing Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, who've had an incredible season individually with their teams, collectively that game, then that would be a different conversation. Even if we were talking about the egregious officiating, through most of the game, I could say, we're talking about the women's national championship. But the fact that we're having this conversation, and this is the conversation kind of spearheading the overall conversation surrounding these two teams and these two specific players who are going to be phenomenal in the WNBA, I don't think it's a good thing, because I think it just further showcases how, despite what people say, racial bias still very much exists in our sports. As much as people like to pretend that it doesn't, and people like to say that sports are colorist and sports are unifying, it's not true, because we're having this conversation and it's unfair, I feel like, to LSU and Iowa, specifically LSU, because they went ahead and won the game last night. It's unfair that this conversation is what is being the primary focus versus what it should be. And that is two teams, two incredible star players, and a winner, a national championship for LSU. And we're having this conversation instead. So I don't think it's a good thing.
So you don't believe in all publicity is good publicity?
No. I think that the fact that we're having this conversation as the primary conversation today is extremely disheartening. Right. And there's nothing for me personally that I feel is a good thing about this, because it just further showcases, like I said, that we still have a very long way to go. And it's unfortunate this is the focus. Yeah,
and the reason why I say it's a good thing, because I feel like we're already past that part as far as awareness and having a conversation. We started that, years ago, and we've been having this conversation for a very long time. 2020, in a pandemic, was really on the forefront of our country for a very long time. It was every single day. So when I look at this, I actually think this is a good thing, because you're pushing two things forward. The conversation around equality, the conversation around racial bias, and also women's basketball. I think they should be extremely excited about the product that they put out there, not only over this weekend, but the entire tournament. It's hard to say, because on the men's side, there was a lot of upsets. But on the women's side, it was just fucking phenomenal basketball. It really was. If you sat back and watched it, it was great. So I'm one to look at this and say it's a great conversation. I love how she embraced, and this is AR, I loved how she embraced the spotlight in the moment after, and was unapologetic. And she said it. You guys said I was too hood. You guys said, what else did she say? She said too hood, and what else? Corey, you have it?
It was, it was just something along those lines, like too
Do we
hood,
have that statement?
Angry and whatnot. Yeah, we can find that.
Corey, before we dive into the conversation, we can, tee it up, and, people who aren't familiar with what happened yesterday, kind of give them the backstory before we dive into the conversation. But clearly, Brandon and I are different sides of looking at this, but I think it's, in the effort of transparency, definitely just tee up kind of what transpired before we get into the conversation.
Yep. So second.
So basically what happened is this, all right? Caitlin Clark went out there, and she was playing ball. There's a lot of athletes out there. Steph Curry does it all the time, too. He talks a little trash. So I forget what they call this, but she's out there. She's doing the, whatever this movement is called. You can't see me. She also waved off her teammates saying, I ain't guarding her. She's done some things that was borderline disrespectful in the game of basketball. Some may say it's borderline disrespectful, or she crossed the line. So now you have AR comes out in the championship game. She does the same thing. And now you have the same outlets that were saying, oh, she's dope, she's phenomenal, talking about Caitlin Clark. They're down there saying to AR that, and this is what she said, that I'm ghetto. They've been saying that allegedly all year, right? And they're saying that this was disrespectful, and this is bad, this is poor sportsmanship. So she started the conversation afterwards, and there's a lot of people in sports media right now that's backing her up. So I just think it's a big conversation, and two things are being pushed forward, and that's equality and women's basketball.
So first and foremost, I think it's extremely unfortunate that this is the conversation that we're having, instead of focusing on two women who are going to be phenomenal assets to the WNBA whenever they make the decision that they want to go ahead and enter the drafts. I think that it's an unfortunate reality of the world that we live in. So this is what I'm going to say about this. It is a constant reminder that we still have a very long way to go, because instead of focusing and uplifting and celebrating these two women and these two teams for incredible seasons, we're having a conversation because people, and by people, I'm going to be very specific, people who claim that sports are colorist, People who claim that sports are unifying but will take the first opportunity, as evident as yesterday, to bash a young brown or black woman for doing the exact same thing that they have uplifted her white peer for doing. And people will say, oh, it's not about race, and why is everything about race? Because you made it about that. Nobody was going ahead and having this conversation until you made it clearly evident that everything that comes out of your mouth when you talk about lack of bias in sports and sports being colorist and sports being unifying is only prevalent when those athletes, those black and brown athletes, remain in the box that makes you feel comfortable. Because the minute they step outside of that box, now it's, oh, they're bad sports, they're ghetto, they're too loud, they're obnoxious, how can they? This is what the problem is with sports. No, the problem with sports is that there are people like you, and you know who you are. I don't have to go ahead and name names and point fingers. You know exactly who you are. And everybody knows who you are because we saw it in black and white on Twitter. You let your racial bias come out whenever athletes step outside of the box that you tried to put them in. But I'm going to keep it very short and sweet. Angel Reese does not owe you anything. She doesn't have to stay in the box to make you feel comfortable. Neither does any other athlete, male or female. So if you have an issue with the way that they choose to express themselves when doing the exact same hand gesture or exact same trash talking as their white peers do, if that makes you uncomfortable, change the channel. Because we are no longer shrinking ourselves as a community of people to make you feel comfortable. So your options are to deal with it or keep it moving. We're not doing that anymore. And it's a shame that you are pitting these two women against each other because your racial bias continues to show. We didn't do it. You did. And you know exactly who you are.
So Dawn Staley of the South Carolina Gamecocks, she came out after their loss. They could have made history this weekend as well if they had won 3 in a row. She said the same thing. She said, in the media, when you guys talk about our team, you're calling us thugs, you're saying we're this, we're trash, and that's not. And she actually went out and called people by names. It felt, I think she did that, or she was close to doing it.
I'll call it by name. Keith Olbermann, we're talking about you.
Ooh.
I'm talking about you.
Ooh.
Who went ahead and went on Twitter and called Angel Reese an effing idiot for doing the exact same thing that Caitlin Clark did. And if memory serves me correctly, you were celebrating when she did it. But when another woman does it, whose skin color looks a little bit different, all of a sudden she's an idiot. All of a sudden she's classless. All of a sudden she's ghetto. No, you have the problem. We don't have the problem. You have the problem. So I'm talking about you and everybody else like you who went ahead and had the same sentiments that day, but didn't keep that same energy for Caitlin Clark. And it's a shame that these two women are being pit against each other because it is not about them. Because they both went ahead and had incredible seasons, incredible games, and like I said, will be incredible assets to the WNBA. They are what the game needs, and they're going to help push the game forward. But how dare you pit these two women against each other? You, sir, are part of the problem.
You're hot.
Yeah, I'm pissed.
Hey, listen. Hey, Ashley, listen, she came in, she want all the smoke right now. I was like, well, I think this is a good thing. She said, hold up. I disagree.
Pump your brakes.
You wanted to wait. You was going to take my head off.
No, because
if I said the wrong thing, you was really going to go at me.
No, because you know what? This is something that every single person of color, whether you are black, brown, somewhere in the middle, has dealt with and will continue to deal with for their entire life. And every time you bring it up, people want to say, oh, it's not about race. Why do you always have to make it about race? Because you are constantly reminding us it is about race. Nobody was pitting these two women against each other until the same people who are constantly claiming that sports are unifying and colorist and sports is the only place where everyone is equal started pitting these two women against each other. You are constantly contradicting yourself every opportunity you get.
But here's the thing, though. Like, this conversation, I mean, the other layer to this conversation, we're talking about, a black woman or just women. If you throw Caitlin in there, a woman's experience, a black woman's experience is totally different than a black man's experience, right? But this is the same thing that Lamar Jackson is dealing with. It's the same conversation that we've been having as far as like, why are you guys treating us differently, right? And I just think that athletes, I just pray that athletes are paying attention, got their ears open, their eyes open, and they're moving accordingly. Like, we have all the power, Ashley. This is why I preach what I preach. Like, we can do a lot of this shit ourselves. Now, I'm not going to go back to the conversation we had Thursday and you, D-Jack, got on me. But what I'm saying is, why do we continue to sit down with the Keith Olbermans? Why do we continue to sit down with him? Because he has what platform? Because what is he giving us? Why can't we do it?
He used his platform to spew.
But I'm just using him as the example.
This young woman.
I'm just using him as the example. We have to be very strategic in this time. This is very sensitive time. You know, athletes should be figuring out what athletes do they sit down with. Artists should be sitting down with other artists. We need to be building each other up and each other's platforms up, because we're going to protect each other. It's the fraternity. Like, we can still have a tough conversation and we can still hold each other accountable, but understand what they're doing. Understand what makes their networks go and what pays their bills. It's how they talk about us, and not in a good way. So hopefully we have our eyes open and our ears to the street and paying attention during this time.
No, absolutely. And before we, move on from this conversation, I just want to remind everybody, especially young women and young women across the board, but specifically women of color, don't shrink yourselves to make people comfortable. Because there are going to be a lot of people who try to put you in a box because they're uncomfortable. And this is evident as of yesterday, and it's been evident across the board, male or female, but specifically young women. People will tell you you're too loud. People will tell you you're too this, you're too that. Oh, you should do a little bit less of that. You should do a little bit less of that, because they're uncomfortable. Don't shrink yourselves for them. Tell them to catch up or shut up. It's as simple as that. We're not shrinking ourselves to make you more comfortable. And the fact that this conversation is even being had because people are so uncomfortable with greatness and confidence when you look like this or when you're darker than this is no longer our problem, and we need to stop making it our problem. So like I said, we're not putting ourselves in boxes anymore. We're not shrinking ourselves anymore for you. If you have a problem, change the channel, because we're not going anywhere. Simple as that.
So can we move on now? You good?
We sure can.
You sure? Mm-hmm. What did you think about the game?
The game was phenomenal. I mean, there were some suspect calls in there. Yeah. That tech on Caitlin Clark, I was not a fan of. You don't call that in a big game. Yeah. But towards the fourth quarter, it was evident.
You don't think she should have been hit with a T?
You don't call a T on a star player like that in a championship game, Brandon.
She can't throw the ball like that. She can't do that.
She put the refs in a tough spot, because it was worthy of a tech, if we're being honest. There was no ref over there. There was
a little bit of bias showing. You had Coach Kim all up on the court. Yeah. And it outside of the range in which she was supposed to be in, and nobody was pushing her back. Like, you can't do that. Right. There was some suspect calls, but in the fourth quarter, it was evident LSU had their number, got in their head, their foot was on the gas, and they ultimately won that game by their grit. And congratulations to them. It was an incredible performance. And shout out to the Lady Tigers. I'm here for it.
Before we move on to the next topic on Daily Route, this first segment is Daily Route. Thank you guys for rocking with us. Coming back for another week. Is this week 4 or week 5, Ashley, of Paper Route launch?
I'm not keeping track of that.
I feel like
it's a Corey question.
No, we really appreciate you guys coming back. We get to have conversations like this, but if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be here. So make sure you guys subscribe and continue to jump in the chat, send in your suggestions, and also tell Ashley that my takes are better than hers. Ashley, terrible weekend for you. FAU.
It was a tough one for me.
Yeah, were you obviously disappointed that the FAU Owls, they didn't make it?
It was hard. You know what? When you go to a school that's constantly in the running, I guess you get okay with this feeling, and you're like, oh, whatever, we'll do better next year.
Yeah, we'll be back.
Right. But when you go to such a small program, I mean, when I was covering FAU, 6 years ago at this point, I remember there were like 100 people maybe in that arena watching that team. Wow. Like, nobody was checking for FAU. This is a school that consists of not top high school recruits. A lot of these guys start in community college and they transfer. Yep. It's a small program, so to get to the Final Four for the first time in school history was huge. Yeah. And to be so close to making the championship game was huge, not only for FAU but for South Florida basketball in general.
How does both teams get knocked out?
Miami got washed. Okay?
I know, but come on.
But FAU was like
one South Florida team could make it.
FAU was 2 seconds away from making the championship game, which made it so hard. I mean, we lost by a point in the last 2 seconds.
You know how many people lost so much?
It was hard to watch. You know, with Miami, the writing was kind of on the wall in that first half. They were getting washed. But I mean, FAU was fighting, and they were fighting back from losing leads and having leads, and San Diego State was fighting. And it came down to the wire, and there was a part in those last 6 seconds, and we miss our shot, and the ball heads back over to the San Diego State side, and I'm just like, listen, 6 seconds of defense, that's all we need.
You were sitting there watching it with
I was watching with my whole family. My family from New York was in town. Cooper was in town. Obviously, he lives with me. So like everyone was sitting there watching it, and in my head, I'm like, when you try not to get to like, you don't try to get your expectations too high because you don't want to be disappointed. Yeah. But in the back of my head, I was like, we're going to do this. Holy crap, we're going to the championship game. They really was in
control the whole game for real, felt like,
6 seconds of defense. That's all we need. And it wasn't even 6 seconds. It was like maybe 2. He shot that ball with 2 seconds. Mind you, this is a player who was hitting bricks all game. So I'm like, the ball's in his hand. This is good money. We got this. He pulled up, and in my head, I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. There's no way. And like when you watch a game, and you're watching the ball go in, and you're kind of like trying to like angle your head, like you can actually see it, like you're really there. I'm like watching from the TV, and I'm like, oh, there's no way this is going. There's no way this is going. And it goes in, and I was in shock.
So Corey, I'm about to throw it to you here. You know what? I'm gonna just throw it to you. I'm gonna look at you because I don't want Ashley to respond to this. I feel really bad for Ashley.
Yeah.
Why?
Cowboys fan. Like for real.
The Knicks
like
are in the playoffs.
For real. Now we're going to get to the Knicks. Right? Just never happened. She's like, oh, it's like, when you're at a bigger team, you're always looking at the future.
I've seen the Cowboys in the playoffs a lot, though. What do you mean?
Super Bowl is Super Bowler, but we're not even talking to you. I'm not even talking to you right now. I'm talking to Corey. I'm talking to Corey right now. So I feel bad for Ashley. Cowboys. It's tough being a Cowboys fan. They get close often, and then also the Knicks. I mean, we're talking about a phenomenal city to play basketball in, and they just can't get it done. FAU. It may be you, Ashley. Would you consider rooting against your teams this year, the rest of this year, and seeing if the outcome is different?
Corey.
I'm just saying sometimes it works. Like fans do weird things. Like I'm not watching right now. I'm wearing the same thing.
The Cowboys and the Knicks were losing way before I understood what was going on TV. So you're not going to put that on me. Okay? I was a baby and they were losing. Don't put that juju on me.
I might.
Last time the Cowboys won a Super Bowl was 95. What's that got to do with me?
When were you born? Can we talk about that? Or
I was born in
private?
93.
You're born in 93.
So, you going to put the Cowboys' years of not making the playoffs or another Super Bowl on me? I was a kid.
Yeah.
That's not my fault.
It's interesting that you're 93. Corey, I'm going to throw it to you. I keep saying, come, let's go. Go, Corey. Just take it. Get us to the next topic. Get us to the next topic because I can talk forever about things that have nothing to do with sports right now.
Well, one last congrats to LSU
Absolutely.
women's basketball team for sure. But moving on, right? So over the weekend, the NBA and the NBA PA agreed on a new 7-year collective bargaining agreement, right? So if we were to list some of the key elements in this new deal, one is players can now invest in NBA and WNBA teams, right? They can also promote and invest in sports betting and cannabis companies. And also something to note is that in an attempt to kind of curb load management, the league is now implementing a 65-game minimum, right? And of course, that minimum comes with conditions, the biggest example being injury and whatnot. But in order to win postseason awards now, got to play at least 65 games.
Wow.
Yeah, got to play at least 65 games. So, how impactful, if you go considering the first couple things that I said, how impactful is this for active players, though, now that they're able to invest in teams and, different companies and whatnot?
Okay, well, focusing on the 65-game minimum to win big. X amount of awards, 100% I'm a fan of that. I think there had to be some level of criteria for these awards to continue being fair and to leave certain biases out of it. You know, we're having the conversation now about Jokic and Embiid and things like that. There had to be some sort of criteria implemented. You can't have somebody who load managed, not that that applies to either of those guys, but you can't have somebody who load managed half the year eligible for blank award. It can't work like that. So I think that it's a step in the right direction of giving these awards more criteria to make them less repetitive, more fair. So I'm in favor of that. In terms of players being able to invest in cannabis companies, don't have an issue with that. Marijuana is going to be legal in this country very soon, so I don't have an issue with athletes being able to expand their money by investing into companies that are going to be making money very shortly, if they already are not, depending on what city they reside in. The only thing that's throwing me off a little bit is allowing active players to invest in WNBA and NBA teams, and not so much WNBA because obviously they aren't playing in those leagues. For me, it's having active NBA players being able to invest in other NBA teams and sports betting companies that may be a little problematic. So you could, basically you're telling me that you can play for the Lakers but be invested into the Clippers. I don't know how that's going to affect free agency. I don't really know how that's going to affect mindsets going into playoffs or the season. I just don't really know why this was a thing and how it's going to work. Right. So those two, the sports betting and the investing into NBA teams as active NBA players, is the only thing that's kind of throwing me for a loop.
Yeah, hopefully the NFL and the players are paying attention, right? NBA always get it right. I wouldn't say always get it right, but they stick together and they get good deals. This is a really good deal for the players. Ashley, you hit on the cannabis, right? I truly believe our NBA players are the ones that got this over the line. Now you see the NFL and other leagues being more lenient on cannabis use. So shout out to the players there. I don't know how big of a role Matt Barnes and Al Harrington's and the stats played in this.
You talk about more of the NBA PA, so that would be C.J. McCollum, that'd be Grant Williams, Donovan Mitchell.
Correct, but you have, those are the guys that's leading the way, but the guys who started the conversation or the guys that's probably sitting down with the C.J. McCollums like, yo, this is an important deal, right? Like I don't know if you watched, did you see my next guest with David Letterman and Kevin Durant?
Yes.
I thought that was dope because KD came out, he's like, I'm high right now. Like, when do you ever see an active athlete talk about being high outside of them Aaron Rodgers saying, I just did ayahuasca plants or whatever? Like, you never really see that. So NBA players are always ahead of the curve on these type of issues. So that's a big thing for me. Another one, I don't know if you hit it, Ashley, but NBA players can now have ownership in an NBA team. Did you hit that?
They can invest, not ownership. They can be investors into NBA teams.
That's ownership.
You can't own I mean, yes.
Yes,
I guess
that's equity.
It's equity.
Minority, majority. Why you keep challenging me in business?
I guess, I mean,
why you keep doing
this?
When
I think owner, though, I think like somebody who, I'm thinking more of somebody who owns the entire conglomerate. But yes, technically an investor is part owner.
Yeah, I mean, they may not be expecting it, but I mean, if you can invest, you can be majority. And you know what this means? LeBron James in Las Vegas. LeBron James.
I just don't know how it works. I don't know how this works.
It's easy. What you mean how it works? It's easy.
I mean,
hey, my name is LeBron James. I want to open or launch the expansion team in Las Vegas.
No,
I have the money.
I don't think that's not what they can do. I don't think that it's I don't think it's that LeBron can start. I think you can be an investor in an existing sports team, within the NBA. You can't build one from the ground. Like the Vegas team would have to already exist.
No, it's not. It's the same. It's the same because it's an expansion team. So it's just you investing in it. You
can't invest in something that doesn't exist.
Yes, it's like when the Jacksonville Jaguars were an expansion team, or even Baltimore moving there.
But the team existed already.
No, you can be. Listen, this is a thing. First off, do you believe that there will be an NBA team in Las Vegas?
Eventually, yes.
Okay. So we can debate this another time, right? Because I feel like I haven't done my work. Have you done your work on this?
Well, I spoke to CJ McCollum and Grant Williams, are two really good friends of mine, so I reached out to them over the weekend when the news broke, and
she's a real reporter. She did her work.
It's not. So it's not.
My work.
What I was told.
I wasn't expecting. I'm sorry.
What I was told to them. What I was told by them is it's more, regarding private equity firms rather than the individuals.
Right.
So that's kind of where they were able to make this work. So it's not like you're just walking into the Los Angeles Lakers office and saying to Jeannie Buss, I want to invest X amount of money into this team. It's through equity firms. So it's a bunch of players pooled together, or, not players, other people who have the funds pooled together, investing into these sports teams. So that was kind of the red tape around it. So that's just kind of, what the fine print is. It's not necessarily the individual, it's the firm.
Why don't we get CJ on? Like CJ
to explain it?
Yeah. We got to get CJ on. Okay. We got to reach out to him. Another interesting thing here, Ashley, did you see the part where they talked about the in-season tournament?
I did not.
Let me read it. It says, in an attempt to curb league load management, we hit that. The in-season tournament could arrive as soon as the 23-24 season. The event will include pool play games backed into the regular season schedule starting in November, with 8 teams advancing to a single elimination tournament in December. The Final Four will be held at a neutral site with Las Vegas permitting in discussion. Las Vegas, there you go again.
The Final Four.
Yeah, you know what this is.
The Final Four is not in the NBA.
That's what they have right here.
Yeah,
with the Final Four, it says the Final Four of this in-season tournament will be had at a neutral site with Las Vegas.
Wow.
Prominent. I said permitting. I'm sorry, prominent. There go Las Vegas again. Las Vegas is going to be the sports mecca here in the next 10 years. NBA, NFL. A lot of brands and companies that are close to sports will be headquartered there. You know what this is to me? This is the NBA finding more ways to create more products. More products equals more TV deals. Look at the NFL. The NFL, they're the best at it, right? We're going to find a way to monetize the combine. That wasn't a thing before. That's why the combine is so important. Not only do you see product placement and more brands coming in, but there's a TV deal around that. You have the draft is a big one. You have training camp is a big one. So this is the NBA looking for more opportunities to generate more revenue, and I actually like it. I think this is smart, and I think it will make the NBA. Can I say funner? Is that a word?
That's not a word.
Can I say it
more
though?
Fun.
Funner.
Okay, sure.
You cool? You cool with it?
I ain't got no problem with it.
Okay.
It's not a word, but
more fun.
Yes.
Can you say more fun? That's the thing. More fun. I think it would be fun because I tell you this all the time. I don't think the NBA starts until like now. The NBA started literally 2.5 weeks ago. They don't play no defense. You got load management. That's why you're now seeing in this collective bargaining agreement the 65 games.
I do think that is important. I think load management has kind of just gotten out of control. I think that it started off as a way to preserve players and their bodies, and it's a very long season, so every now and then you expect it, but it's become a little bit egregious. I mean, you have guys sitting out for a week straight at this point. It's insane. Like you can't have it.
Yeah.
And I know Kawhi's not gonna like it, but you can't have it.
I don't think Kawhi would care because Kawhi's not going after an MVP or any type of...
No, I know, but I think I mean, yes. That's true, but I think that, I don't know, I just think that the load management has kind of taken on a life of its own, and it's diluting the product a little bit. And I think about what Kobe Bryant told Vanessa, and she mentioned this at his memorial service, is that, the reason that he would play through so many injuries is because he would think about, the fans and the kids specifically, who saved up money to come watch him play. And I feel like with load management, that's kind of gotten erased a little bit, that love of, not just the game, but the people who support the game and the fans who watch the game and support these players. It's become such a business that you ignore that. And
but that's
it's unfortunate because load management is diluting the game a little bit.
Well, let's go to the NFL. John Mara at the owners' meeting last week, he came out and pushed back against the proposal of flexing Thursday night football, right? And his biggest thing was it's not fair to the fan. You have families that will plan a trip to see their team and their favorite players for 6-7 months, and now all of a sudden you give them 2 weeks notice saying that we're down flexing the game to Thursday. He said it's not fair. So I understand that, and it does suck, but the reality is it's a business. It's a media business. So they're going to, and the NBA and the NFL is telling us what's more important is the business and these deals over our players and our fans. That's what it is.
I think it's a little different though with the NBA because unlike the NFL, when you're flexing a game, you're moving, like it could be Eagles and Cowboys that are now being flexed, and it changes the entire landscape of that game. Where at the NBA, you're not changing the location, you're just changing what players are available. So if you know you're showing up to a game expecting to see LeBron James play, and then 30 minutes before tip-off, LeBron James won't be playing today. He's going to be out on, load management. It's diluting the product, and not only is it diluting the product in person, but as a fan, do you really want to watch the B squad Lakers go at it against the A squad Cavs? That's not fun to watch. Like
you just went to the Heat game a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was a week and a half ago. I got to ask this question because I know you're very connected. Did you pay for your tickets? Okay, I just have to ask because that sucks as well. You invest a couple $100 in your ticket and your experience, and LeBron's not there, right? Like that's why I brought it up, right?
I didn't confirm nor deny whether I paid for my ticket.
Well, I'm just saying I was just going to use that as example. Me, I only go to NBA games when I can sit courtside. That's it. Like I'm bougie. Like I gotta sit with my feet on the wood. I'm not taking the second row.
I believe that though.
No, for sure. Like it's
this
just
is
one of
the
those
same.
things.
Can I tease you a little bit?
And that's a couple thousand.
Can I tease you a little bit?
Go.
We were at Super Bowl, y'all. This is a true story. This is a true story. Coming close. I'm gonna tell y'all. It's a story time, real quick. We were at Super Bowl, and at Super Bowl Radio Row, there's multiple entrances, right, to get to the same location. And there's, the media entrance. It takes you down the escalator, and that's where most people go through because it's just the easiest. It's right there when you walk out your hotel, depending on where your hotel is. It's right near the parking garage, and that's where I and Pat McAfee and all these people were coming up and down the escalator. Brandon Marshall here refused to use that entrance. He said, no, I want the VIP entrance. And we're like, Brandon, just take the escalator. Everyone's taking the escalator down. The media, he's like, no, I'm not coming in unless I can walk through the VIP entrance. The VIP entrance is like this tunnel. It's like the garage tunnel underneath the convention center, all the way on the other side of the convention center. Mind you, we're over here. The entrance is over there. You walk through this tunnel. You profile all around the convention center. You walk through there. You walk through craft services. You may bump into Michael Irvin and this one or whatever.
Craft services was today.
But Brandon Marshall refused to take the escalator. He had to go ahead and walk through the VIP entrance.
Let me explain myself.
Just want to put that out there. So when he said he's bougie and he won't sit anywhere but courtside, that is 100% accurate.
Listen, the basketball thing and the courtside thing is more ego, and I'll give you that, right? Like, listen, I'm not one that's afraid to be vulnerable and lean into some of my weaknesses or some of my shortcomings, right? And that's all ego. Like, I feel like, if I'm going to a game, like, I'm sitting courtside. I want the best. I can't sit row 2, row 3, none of that.
It's insane.
None of that. So
that's insane.
Right. So that's that. But the VIP thing is the Super Bowl is hectic. If you got to think about it. This is the biggest event around our game. And fans come, they know the festivities leading up to the game is some of the funnest moments because you can run to anybody and some of your favorite players, whether active or retired. Hell, when I was a kid, that was my favorite part about going to the Super Bowl was getting autographs. So if you go to...
You were in that tunnel asking for autographs?
No, listen. Yeah, I was everywhere. My thing is if any player, not just myself, walk around during the week of the Super Bowl, it's hard to get down the street, right? Because everybody's asking you for an autograph. And so my thing is I'm trying to just get to our location.
Brandon, you are so cat, bro.
I'm telling you.
You are so cat. I'm not going to let you get away
Ashley,
with
you know
that.
I always keep it real with you. I always keep it real with you.
I'm not going to let you get away with that
honest?
on this set.
I'm
not going to let you get away with that.
Do I not be honest with you?
I am not going to let you get away with that on this set. You are lying to our viewers. That is not why you wanted to walk through that VIP entrance. Don't sit here and lie to me.
Let me ask you. I will say this.
Because I was there. I know the truth.
I will say this. You're not bougie when it comes to like, hey, we're on location. Let's go to work. Like you get it done. But outside of work, who's more bougie, me or you?
I am not bougie. I've never sat courtside.
Ashley,
in my life,
Ashley.
I'm a true basketball. I'll sit in the stands with the regular folks. I don't care as long as I'm in the building.
Where'd you go yesterday?
I was at Kith.
And what did you wear? You went to Kith.
I had Zara pants on. What are you talking about?
You went to brunch yesterday. Can
so
what? Can everybody go to Ashley Nicole Moss's?
Does brunch make me bougie?
Ashley Nicole Moss's Instagram account.
This man refused to take the same escalator that Pat McAfee used to walk to his set. He had to go to the other entrance. And we're waiting for him for 15 minutes. I say, where's Brandon Marshall? Where's Brandon? Anyone seen Brandon? Oh, he's here. But he had to walk. He refuses to come to the media entrance. He's walking through.
Here's the other thing, and you know this too about me. You know this too about me. And then so does our audience. If y'all just now following I Am Matthew the Paper Route, I'm gonna tell y'all something about me. I know myself, and everybody need to learn themselves.
What's yourself?
And put boundaries. Too many people is a problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem. It's a problem. Because I'm the type of dude, right? I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to say, yo, I got to get to this. I got to get to the TikTok installation, or we got to get the Sleep Number. This is a big partnership, a big collaboration. We got 10 minutes to get there. The fans, they don't care about that.
Brandon.
So what happens if the wrong person...
I'm not letting you do this, Brandon Marshall. I'm not letting you do this. You're walking into the Radio Row Convention Center where 95% of the people there work in the media space. You're not walking into the Pro Bowl. You're not walking into the mall. You're not walking down the street where it's, oh my God, Brandon Marshall, can you sign? You're walking into a room where Pat McAfee's over here. You got CBS over here. Ain't nobody harassing you for an autograph. You could have walked through the media entrance like the rest of us. I'm not going to let you sit up here and cap.
Ashley,
you're lying.
Ashley.
No, you're lying.
Have I ever told you I had 21 catches on the game?
Oh my God.
All right, next question. Go. You did a good job of painting a different narrative there. I ain't gonna
go next
question. I can't.
She just exposed
all right,
me.
y'all, so we going, right. Let's check out the word on the tweet, huh? So it was a very eventful weekend and whatnot, but we got to start with LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers. So these guys are making a late season surge, I'd say. They won their most recent game over the Rockets, 134-109. Anthony Davis, he dropped 40 points, grabbed 9 rebounds, and LeBron James recorded his 136th career triple-double, right?
Easy.
The Lakers, they're currently 7-3 in their last 10, and they're actually a half a game behind the Warriors and the Clippers for the 5th and 6th seed. Yeah, so I mean they're looking pretty good right now. So guys, like, are the Lakers a team to fear in the Western Conference? Ashley, I'll start with you.
No, don't start with Ashley. Let me start this one. Ashley's been starting and taking over the whole show. I'm starting with this one. I'm gonna go to ESPN.com right now. Okay, I'm gonna go NBA, then I'm gonna go standings. And right now, what I'm gonna look at is the Eastern Conference. I don't want to see the Eastern Conference right now. I'm gonna see the Western Conference. You got the Denver Nuggets sitting at 1. Okay. Then you got the Memphis Grizzlies. Then you got the Sacramento Kings. Then you got the Phoenix Suns. Then you got the Clippers. Then the Warriors. And then you got LA. Damn. I wanted to say something crazy. I was about to say, I see them in the Western Conference Finals. That's what I see. Wow. But when I got to Golden State, they hot right now. They play. And then I do like Kawhi and what happens when Paul come through. This is going to be an exciting postseason. You making that face because you got LA written off. You can't do that, Ashley. Can you throw back the graphic, Mandeville, please? Mandeville, please throw the graphic. Did you not see that stat line? You got AD, 40 points, 9 rebounds. LeBron, this is what LeBron was supposed to be doing for 2.5 years since they left the bubble, is exactly this. Chilling, getting everybody in position, being a freaking strategic out there, and letting AD carry the load. Ashley, we talked about this last week, and I told you this, and you laughed at me, and Stack, y'all laughed at me. If AD can do this, because we talked about a run, that was debate. I ain't say a whole year. I said the question that Corey posed was, Can they go on a run? Well, they're on a run right now. Now the new question, Corey, is can this run extend into the postseason? Yeah. And I'm saying yes. Actually, who do you have here that can just blow them out if they doing it? If AD's doing this and LeBron is being LeBron, who's just going to run through the Lakers? Answer me that.
Brandon, can you read that first sentence for me, please?
AD and Braun in win versus Rockets.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's your point there.
That's my point.
The Rockets.
The Rockets are the worst team, I believe, in the NBA. They play
gonna do me like
play
that?
absolutely zero defense. So yes, it is impressive. I will give credit where credit is due.
6 of the last 7. Look at their last 7.
The last 7, I will give credit where credit is due. You know, the last 6 out of the I can't give credit for the Houston Rockets. You're supposed to beat a team like that.
What about the Bulls?
They're one of the.
They beat the Timberwolves.
Didn't they lose to the Bulls?
They beat the Suns.
They lost to the Bulls.
No, they beat the Bulls. They lost.
They
split.
They split? Okay.
They split.
All I'm simply saying is, okay, Anthony Davis having a 40-point game against the Houston Rockets doesn't move me. I'm sorry, it doesn't. It doesn't do anything for me. We have said this time and time again. When Anthony Davis is at his best, he is unstoppable. The problem is his availability and his consistency.
Don't matter.
They are not there. If they are there, that is a game changer. But that is a big if.
He's available right now. Can you see them going on a run in the postseason? Yes or no?
Is this the playoffs
yes
right
or no?
now?
It's close. We're a week away.
His biggest question mark is his availability and his consistency.
He's available right now. He's available right now.
Do I see this team beating a team like the Suns or the Warriors or the Grizzlies or the Clippers in a 7-game series? No, I don't. I'm sorry.
Does it go 7?
I don't think it goes. I really don't think that this team is a team that you need to worry about. Will they make some splashes here and there? Maybe. Will they go ahead and give a team that they play against a hard time? Yes. Will they exhaust them? Probably. Will they walk away victorious in a series depending on what that matchup is? Probably not. The team is not that team. It's just not that team. This is not a team that's going to the Western Conference Finals.
Because you're better at this than I am. Can you go on your pad and look at the standings and see like who are they going to play potentially in the first?
They're in the play-in, I believe.
No, they're the 7th seed, I believe.
That's the play-in.
The 7 is the play-in?
Yes.
Yep. Jeez.
That's the plan.
And then, so walk me through that play-in structure.
I believe 7 plays 8, 9 plays 10, and then the winners of those. I would have to see the graphic on top of my head. I think 7 plays 8, 9 plays 10, and then
the winner of 9 and 10
play each other. Plays the loser of 7 versus 8. Yeah, right. Yes.
Okay, so it's all about the positioning.
Yes, it's all about the positioning and things like that. So they're at 7 right now. That makes them in the play-in. They probably won't get into the playoffs. I think that.
You don't think they'll get into the playoffs?
There's 3 games left.
You don't think the Lakers get into the playoffs?
They're in the play-in. That's not considered a true playoff team. They're in the play-in. That's the step before the playoffs.
So you don't have them making it out of the play-in. If they
no. I'm saying I don't think they get into the playoffs. Meaning, like I don't think they're cracked. I don't think they're going to crack 6.
Be clear. Be clear.
I mean, I'm pretty sure.
Be clear. You went to school for communication.
I'm pretty sure everyone knew what I meant when I said they won't crack the playoffs. I mean, they won't crack the playoffs. Meaning, I think they're stuck in that play-in
by the end of the regular
season.
All
right, let's go on to the next tweet.
And listen, I'm a big LeBron fan, so I'm not knocking LeBron.
Acting like it.
Look, I don't think LeBron's enough to carry this team in a 7-game series against any of these teams in the West. Certain teams in the West. I don't. I think he needs more help, and I can't rely on Anthony Davis. I just can't.
Are you ready to give your finals prediction?
Not yet. No.
Not ready. When are you going to be ready? Can we get this done by the end of the week? Can we get Ashley's bracket?
Well, when the season's over, I'll be able to see where everyone's seated.
That's like too easy.
No, it's not. I can't. What do you want me to do? Predict matchups?
So when the season's over, you're going to bless us with a segment. I'll be able to. You'll put together like a map of how the playoffs are going to shape out.
Yeah, I can do that, but I gotta see where everyone's seated and things like that.
You say you're not bougie and needy. Like you could do it right now. Ashley.
I don't know who's matching up with who. There's 3 games left. Some teams.
That's what makes it exciting is you predicting it before it happens. All right, what we got next, Corey?
All right, this is what we got. The NBA announced their 2023 Hall of Fame class, right? And that list includes Dwayne Wade. You got Pau Gasol. You got Dirk Nowitzki, Becky Hammond, Tony Parker, and Greg Popovich, right? So we got a tweet here from the one and only Dwayne Wade. He says, this is what it's like going into the Hall of Fame.
Dope.
This is what it feels like going into the Hall of Fame. And you see here, you got a whole bunch of GOATs in there. Now, I had a question for you guys, right? Like, there's no questioning this year's Hall of Fame class.
It's one of the best.
Yeah, no, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But
For sure.
cause the GOAT, you know, like as of late, that's really been a term that a lot of people have been throwing around and whatnot. Like, do you see Hall of Fame classes, you know, 20, maybe 10 to 20 years from now, harder to really put together, really from that, you know, just from that statement there?
What do you mean?
So like the GOAT term, you know, like I feel like almost each team has their GOAT, right? Or like, you know, Luka, he's a baby GOAT. He's this, he's that. Like, are we going to have problems like, you know, forming these Hall of Fame classes? Are these Hall of Fame classes going to be like less of first ballot Hall of Famers just with like the parity that's growing in the NBA and whatnot?
No, because a GOAT on X team is different than a Hall of Fame GOAT.
Right.
I mean, it's you know, you can be called a baby GOAT, all these things if you want to, but the Hall of Fame doesn't care about what Twitter says. It doesn't care about what a fan base says. The Hall of Fame is the Hall of Fame for a reason. I mean, you look at these names here. These men and women have accomplished a plethora of accolades from top to bottom over a span of years, decades. That's a different level. So yeah, you know, Twitter and social media and fan bases will go ahead and label and crown people GOATs and things like that. And maybe the term is used too loosely now. I you know, that's probably true, and that's a different conversation. But I think when you start talking about the Hall of Fame, that's a different stratosphere, and there's no cheating the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean?
That's just something you just hope that those standards remain the same, right? Like as years go on. Brandon, what you think?
Well, first off, you know, I love D Wade, my favorite player, and we
One
talk
of the best, the Flash.
And that's who I followed for a very long time. He and Carmelo Anthony, now Spider Mitchell, is my guy. Love his game. It reminds me of my game, Ashley. You know what I'm saying?
Your game in what?
Basketball. I truly believe.
So not only is your game similar,
I just don't like how you just look.
not only is your game similar to Donovan Mitchell, but you can
Without
put the
jumping him.
defensive brakes on Joel Embiid.
That's what I do. Now you in my lane.
He's
Now
got
you
the
in my
game,
lane.
the offensive game of Donovan Mitchell, and the defensive game to put the brakes on Joel Embiid. Let's just go ahead and flip that.
One time in 6th grade, we had an AAU tournament, and they gave me Mr. Hustle Award and Defensive Player of the tournament. That was like in 6th grade. Then I did it again in like 8th grade, while scoring or averaging around 26 points. So I like my game. I truly believe if I actually had time to train, I could have made it to the NBA. I truly believe it. So I'm gonna move on because Ashley, she think I'm playing over here and I'm not serious. I want to talk about some of the top classes when it comes to Hall of Fame, because I disagree with D Wade on this one point. Like GOATs, there's one GOAT. We need to fix this, and I'm part of the problem. I'm always saying this person's a GOAT, that person's a GOAT. There's only one GOAT. And in basketball, it's Michael Jordan.
No.
There's one GOAT.
Bill Russell's a GOAT.
No, there's one. Who's the GOAT?
More
Who's
rings
the
than
GOAT?
fingers, baby.
No, that could be your GOAT, right? But you gotta pick a GOAT. You can't say GOAT, GOAT, GOAT. What does GOAT mean? I'm very literal.
We've had this conversation before, though. I think
greatest of all time.
No, I think there is the GOAT, but I think there are GOATs.
No, there's greats. Put GOATs, greats.
Bill Russell's
or
a
whatever
GOAT.
you want to put.
Magic Johnson's a GOAT. Kareem is a GOAT. Like, they may not be the GOAT when you think of a sport.
Who's the
When you
greatest?
say the GOAT,
Yeah.
I think the GOAT conversation is when you think of a sport, when you think of the greatest player of all time in a sport, the GOAT is the universal answer, but that doesn't negate that underneath there are multiple GOATs, and Bill Russell, Magic, Kareem, Larry are in that conversation.
Well, we're going to continue to debate this for a very long time.
Who's your GOAT in football?
Tom Brady.
Okay, and underneath him, when you talk about Deion
Greats.
Sanders, is he not a
Great.
GOAT?
He's great. Just talked to him last week. Great, but you're not a GOAT.
Deion Sanders is not a GOAT?
He's not the GOAT. He's a great. When I speak about GOAT, I'm talking about one person, right? Everybody else, legends, phenomenal, greats. I think we just throw GOAT around too often. It's too easy. We can debate this another time, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I get your thoughts here? Because we're talking about this being a phenomenal class, right?
Mm-hmm.
So who is it? It's D Wade,
Pau Gasol, Dirk,
Yep.
Becky Hammond,
yep.
Tony Parker, and Coach Pop.
Okay, so what about this
and
one?
And more.
All right, here's who people are saying is or the class is number one. Let me see if you guys agree with this. 2009. Do you know who went in 2009? The GOAT. It's easy. Let me give you the GOAT.
Jordan went in 09?
Who's the GOAT?
I thought he went in sooner than that. But
No,
okay.
isn't Kobe your GOAT?
Kobe's my GOAT,
Okay,
yes.
so 2009, you have Michael Jordan, David Robinson,
That was a great class.
and John Stockton. Okay, that's a dope one. 2020, do you know who went in 2020? 11 years later.
Didn't Kobe go in 2020?
Yeah, your GOAT. Kobe, you know who he went in with?
Allen Iverson? No, Iverson went the year before him, I believe.
Okay, so Tim, very good. Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett.
That was a great class also.
So would you take out of these three, rank those three first? So you got this class with D Wade and the rest.
I think this is a great class. I would go this class first.
This class
like
first?
overall class?
You're taking D Wade's class over the 2020 Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, and Kobe Bryant?
Overall?
Yes.
That's three guys. Look
Yeah, but there's more
Dirk
here.
has
I'm naming the top three.
outside of the American Airlines
Hold
Center.
on, Ashley. So you're taking D Wade, Dirk, and Tony Parker?
I'm looking at the overall
and
class.
Becky?
You can't. I'm not going to rank a class with three players.
Just go top three. Let's just go top three.
I would have. I mean,
let's go top three.
this is a great class. I would probably go this class, Kobe's class, Jordan's class.
Wow. So that means this is the greatest class.
I'm looking at it as an overall. I'm not looking at it as an individual thing. Obviously, if I'm going GOATs within the classes, obviously for me, Kobe would always be first. But as the overall class, I mean, this class is phenomenal. And this is not even everybody.
Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, and Kobe Bryant. I like them over MJ, David Robinson, and John Stockton. And that's tough.
Kobe's class and this class are very, very close, but I mean, this is an incredible
Here's another
class.
good one. Here's another
Coach
good one,
Pop,
Ashley.
come on.
What do you think about this class? They call this the Dream Team. Karl Malone, Scottie Pippen, Dennis.
I'm not putting any
Johnson.
class with Karl Malone in the top 30. Sorry.
All right, here. No, so it wasn't the year before. 2016 is when Allen Iverson went in. Do you know who he went in with? Little guy, Allen Iverson, big guy. One of the biggest guys.
Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank.
Joel Embiid compared himself to him. Joel Embiid said,
I'm drawing a blank.
I'm like this guy, and then I'm also like Olajuwon. That's what he said. Hakeem Olajuwon.
Oh.
No. It's Shaquille O'Neal. That's what. Remember, Joel Embiid said that a couple days ago.
Shaq went in with Iverson?
Huh?
Shaq went in with Iverson?
Yep. And Yao Ming.
Oh, that's.
Yeah.
And I don't know this person. Zelmo Betty
WNBA?
is. And no disrespect. I don't. I'm sorry. Zelmo. I need to look that person up. Zelmo Betty might not be a household name, but he made 5 All-Star games spread across a dozen seasons in the ABA and NBA. The skill center averaged 22 points and 15 rebounds while helping the 70 and 71 Utah Stars in the ABA title. Okay. All right. Let me see if there's another one. Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, Ray Allen, Grant Hill.
That was a great class.
Yep. That was 2018. There's some good classes here. We need to move the conversation forward. But I think your list is way off. Like how you rank the top 3 classes.
I think this is a phenomenal class. But
it's not phenomenal. What you're saying is the greatest. Basically,
I'm not saying it's the greatest. I can't say it's the greatest Hall of Fame class because I don't know what the future Hall of Fame classes are going to look like.
Can you look in your camera and say, this class is the greatest class ever to go into the Hall? That's what you're saying.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
So
you gave me 3 classes to rank, and I ranked them. That doesn't mean this is the greatest class of all time.
There's no other class. I gave you. I just gave you. You want me to go to 1980? 1980.
Corey.
You have.
Corey.
1980. You have. Oscar Robertson and Jerry West and Jerry Lucas.
You gave me 3 classes to rank, and I said if I had to rank them against the 3 that you gave me, Kobe's class is very close to this 2023 Hall of Fame class, but this is a phenomenal group of people going in. That's not saying it's the greatest of all time. It's a phenomenal.
You're politicking right now.
Oh my God.
It's like she doesn't want to
Corey
put her name
Corey.
on it. Like, what?
Next.
All right, so how about we actually talk some football? Huh?
Ooh.
So our next tweet is from Dov Kleeman. Hopefully I pronounced his name correctly.
It's all the same. It's no disrespect. It's YouTube.
There you go. All right, so there are actually 4 teams eligible for Hard Knocks next year, right? So those 4 teams, New York Jets, you got the Chicago Bears, you got the New Orleans Saints, and you got the Washington Commanders. Of those 4 teams, guys, who would you like to see on
I know
the
who I
next
don't
series
want to
of
see.
Hard Knocks?
Who you don't want to see?
I don't want to see the Commanders. Well, nobody wants to see that.
Yeah.
Nobody.
No.
I think the best. I think the best would be the Jets, obviously, especially when Aaron Rodgers gets there. Everyone's gonna want to know what's going on behind the scenes. Are they doing ayahuasca in the locker room? Like, are they doing darkness retreats in the off season?
Do they have a dark room?
Is everyone going up to the Catskills and sleeping in teepees and stuff like that? Like, we want to know what's going on behind the scenes. That's obviously going to be the most entertaining. I don't think the Saints is anything spectacular that anyone's really going to want to see. I don't think, the Bears might be interesting. But I think obviously out of the 4 of those lists, the winner's the Jets.
This is one of the down times in my career. Not down times. What's the word I'm looking for? This is one, and not a regret. I guess I wish I
on Hard Knocks?
I had an opportunity to do Hard Knocks. I always wanted to do Hard Knocks.
Yes.
I always wanted to do Hard Knocks.
Should have been played for the Cowboys. We've been on there like 17 times.
I know. I mean, it's a bad place to be in because if you're on Hard Knocks, that means you're not a really good team, right? You're never.
That's not necessarily true.
That is.
Yeah.
The Cowboys have been at Hard Knocks when we were winning.
I know. No.
That's the way it's normally set up.
The way it's set up, it's like the bottom half of the NFL. It's like if you're obligated to be in that pool where they pick from if you're like the last 8 in the NFL. Like you have to. And so like if you look over the last 10 years who's participating in Hard Knocks, it's not the teams that are coming off of a Super Bowl or the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Buffalo Bills.
But is it always losing
the New
teams,
England
though?
Patriots?
I thought sometimes it was middle of the ground
Patriots?
teams.
You never seen the New England Patriots?
Yeah.
What about the Baltimore Ravens? What about the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Right.
You don't see really good teams doing Hard Knock.
Why is that though?
Would you say the Steelers are a really good team to the point that they shouldn't be in Hard Knocks?
Because listen, again, going back to the discussion that we had earlier around the new CBA for the NBA CBA, it's a media business, right? So the NFL and these owners understand how powerful Hard Knocks is. It's one of the most legendary shows around our game. Mm-hmm. So they want to keep it going, but teams can elect to be out of it. So they basically got together and put rules around it. It's like, look, if you're a terrible team, you have no say, right? Like if you're at the bottom half of our league, you're in the discussion every single year. So the teams that can opt out are the teams that are really good. Nobody wants to be involved in that. Like, not real football people don't want to be involved in that. Why? Like it's a distraction. Mm-hmm. That's what we do every single day. Every single day, the job of the head coach and everyone around is to eliminate the distractions. That's why you see these athletes and coaches give these vanilla answers. Like, nobody wants to deal with the media. So now there's going to be cameras in our locker room, in our fucking cafeteria, in our meeting rooms 24/7. That's too intimate. Everything changed. It alters the whole chemistry and the whole approach to how we do our business.
Guys who are normally, aren't talkative, all of a sudden dancing in the middle of the locker room, like putting on a show for the cameras.
and those guys get called out quickly, or guys that usually are talkative, they run away. They're like, I'm not participating in this, right? So what was the question? Which team would you like to see next on Hard Knocks? I would love to see. I actually love it, and I think things are changing. I think teams now understand that media and embracing it to the highest level is important. So I actually want to see the Jets. So I'm with you, Ashley. I want to see the Jets. There's
You
a lot of
worried
story
that
on
the
Sauce
Jets,
Gardner.
if the Jets were on Hard Knocks, though, it would put a additional spotlight on a team that already was going to have a immensely bright spotlight. They play in New York. They play in New Jersey. They deal with the New York, New Jersey media, so that's one spotlight. You have one of the biggest acquisitions ever. Aaron Rodgers now is your quarterback or soon to be quarterback. Speaking if after this already happens, is at the helm. That marriage between him and Green Bay went south.
I love it. I'm with
Now, he did his Pat McAfee interview, so all eyes are... Now it's an additional spotlight because they're going to have cameras everywhere that they go. You're going to hear every... do you think they even want that added attention?
Yeah, absolutely. This is New York. Sorry,
It's
Jersey.
New Jersey.
I like it. I mean, I think Woody wants the attention. Woody loves the attention.
But would you think it's smart attention to have?
Yeah, I think it's all about how the coach and the organization controls it, right? And like you said, those players or coaches that's doing too much, you got to get them in line.
Everyone in the chat says nobody wants to see a Jets Hard Knocks. So
Really? Is that what the chat? Can we get a question from the chat in the game, Corey?
Someone said
Let's
I
get to
could
the next
literally
one.
not
Really?
care.
Really? You don't want to see Sauce Gardner or Aaron Rodgers?
I'm just reading what the chat says. The chat says they
Just them
could
two alone.
not care.
But think about just those two characters alone.
Ratings would be
Sauce
through the
Gardner
roof.
and Aaron Rodgers. That's more than enough content.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers be the guy that's running from the camera, actually.
Can we get a poll? Everybody in the chat right now, if you want to go ahead and you would be interested to see a Hard Knocks of the New York Jets, the New Jersey Jets, go ahead and say yes. If you would not, go ahead and say no. We're going to go ahead and do a count here. I'm interested to
Let's do
see
it.
what this looks like.
Yeah, we got to follow up with those numbers. I would have assumed those numbers would have went through the roof, honestly. But all right, moving on. How about Factor Foolish? So with this one, remember, I'm going to read a statement. These two will have to determine whether it's Factor Foolish and give their explanation why. So to begin, Jacksonville Jaguars win a Super Bowl in the next 5 years. I say this because their owner, Khan, right? He just recently said that the Jaguars have finally figured out the formula to winning. So he's very optimistic about the future there in Jacksonville. So Jacksonville Jaguars win a Super Bowl in the next 5 years. Factor Foolish.
Can I just ask our team, why did we pick old photo of the Jacksonville Jaguars? I think
We
that
got
was like Marcus
6
Lee.
no's already.
Oh, you
by
want
the
to
way.
go there? Can we stay on topic?
I'm just saying.
We'll come back to that.
We got 6 no's already. I'm just
Six
gonna,
no's?
Just want to put that out there. We have literally
Well-
6 no's.
Listen, everybody in our chat, all right, audience, and this is a great lesson.
And a hell no.
This is a great lesson for everyone, right? Come with solutions. There is no problems, only solutions. So everybody right now, no. Well, what's your solution? Okay. So if it's not the Jets, then put it in the chat. Who then? Right. And we need to take that lesson across our life in every area of our life. Don't just come with problems. Come with the solution. So if it's not the Jets, I want to hear who do you guys want to see on Hard Knocks. But to this question, I would say over the next 5 years, whoa. This is a close one because if you look at how this team played last year, they have the makings of being a Cincinnati Bengals. Trevor and Corey, what the owner said is what? Like the formula, they figured it out, right? Was what?
That is, it's an owner, it's a head coach, and it's the quarterback.
So they have a owner. He's the only one. Well, there's 2.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Okay,
Thank you.
so the owner, he seems to be getting it. They do have a head coach. They have not only do they have a head coach, they have a head coach that's won a Super Bowl already in Philly, right? And then this quarterback, Trevor. Trevor, was he a bust? Is he a bust? But then you look at last year, man, dude turned it around. Second half of the season, they were the hottest team outside them and the Detroit Lions. They were the hottest team in the NFL. So I would say if Trevor is who we think he is, I'm going to say yes.
I say foolish. First of all,
Fact.
it's concerning to me. He says, I finally figured out the formula. It's a head coach, an owner, and a quarterback. Thanks. Congrats. Good job on figuring that one out, pal. That's great. But the answer is foolish for me. I think that they're going to be a force, definitely, like in the playoffs consistently. I think this is not a team that's going to be a laughing stock. This is a team that when they're, on your schedule, you perk up a little bit more and you pay a little bit more attention in the film room. It's a team that's going to give some issues. It's a team that's probably going to get kind of close. a Super Bowl though in the next 5 years? Anything's possible, but I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say foolish.
I mean, there's more parity in the NFL, and you're gonna hear that word a lot. I was introduced to that word last year. We were doing Inside the NFL, and we did a whole segment on parity. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. It's parity. So I'm gonna say that a lot. I tend to lean into and use words that I'm getting familiar with, Ashley. So I just want to give you a heads up there, right? So parity. A lot of parity in the NFL now outside of like Patrick Mahomes. Anybody can, you have a quarterback and you play some good defense, you can find yourself going on a nice run. Look at the Cincinnati Bengals, how they were able to turn their organization around. So I'm going to go fact there. Ashley, in the chat, you have a lot of people saying the Commanders.
Yuck.
The Bears.
Why do you want to see the Commanders?
I know.
The Commanders over
the Eagles.
The Commanders and their one patch of grass that they call a football field.
Eagles would be dope, but I don't see that happening. They don't have to do it.
The Dolphins would be cool.
The Dolphins would be amazing.
Would be nice.
I'd like to see the Dolphins.
Just that coach.
I'd even like to see the Raiders with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
Cut that, JP. Cut that. Put it out, just like that. I need that space, just like that. Ashley, oh my goodness.
Well, staying on the Raiders, right? How about our next one? Devontae Adams catches the most touchdown passes in the NFL next season. Fact or foolish?
That's foolish. It's extremely, because he has a new quarterback.
That's true.
Right? It has nothing to do with Devontae. I do believe in Josh McDaniels getting his guy the ball. I don't believe in Josh McDaniels, but I do believe in him as an offensive coordinator, just not a head coach. Jimmy G, when year in, year out, you never see Jimmy G just putting up big numbers or his receivers putting up big numbers. It's just not that type of party. Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson. You're talking about guys that have established relationships with their quarterbacks. So I'm going to say foolish here, Ashley.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it's we always talk about this. It's hard to manufacture chemistry, right? A wide receiver quarterback is a certain telepathy that comes with time. And I don't know if you can recreate that. I mean, obviously, Devontae Adams had it with Aaron Rodgers. It took time to develop that. Jimmy Garoppolo obviously is no Aaron Rodgers, and he is also a quarterback that does just enough to win games, but he's not going to do the extras, the intangibles. I think it's going to be hard for them to kind of figure each other out. He'll definitely get touches and he'll definitely, get passes. I mean, he's wide receiver 1, that's QB 1, but to be the most when you're competing against guys who kind of have had that camaraderie and kind of know the ins and outs of each other's game, it's going to be hard to. So I'm going to say foolish also.
Corey, can you spell telepathy?
Telepathy. Telepath.
Oh, you were so close.
Why isn't that? Why no? Why?
You said H, right? You were so close. It's Telepathia. And telepathy, the communication of ideas, thoughts, etc., directly from one person's mind to another person's mind without the use of hearing. We need to have like Ashley's word of the week or Ashley's word of the day. Telepathy.
Telepathy.
Did you know how to spell it?
I did.
Okay, telepathy. I didn't know it. When you hit that one, I was like, ooh, okay. Okay, that's the FAU education.
Well, before we move on from Devontae Adams, y'all do know last year was his first year with Derek Carr. I guess if we're not counting, the college years that they spent with each other, he led the NFL.
That's where the telepathy was. That's where the telepathy was created.
That's a big gap.
No, use telepathy. That's where telepathy was created. It was in college. You never lose telepathy.
All right, that's fair.
Can I say it like that? You never lose telepathy. I can go back to
Jay Cutler,
Stephen Moss, even Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler go right there. If Jay Cutler look at me and he do this, I know what he talking about. If he do this, I know what he talking about. If I know if he go like this, I know what he talking about.
If Chad
if
Henne
I say
does
yee. If Chad Henne, the only kind of communication I'm doing with Chad Henne is this. Like, damn. Like, no. I remember one time I ran a go route in practice, and Jeff Ireland and Bill Parcells, who was the president at the time, they were sitting in a golf cart right on the side. And I was going against Vontae Davis maybe or Sean, and I beat him, and I was beating them a lot. They were younger then, right? I was beating them a lot when I first got there because they didn't know my moves. And he when I tell you, like, I had like 5 yards on them, I had like 5 yards, Ashley. Like, you would have been able to hit me, like, you know, your ball would have been perfect. This dude not only missed me, he missed me 5 yards out of bounds. He almost hit Jeff Ireland and Bill Parcells. I just looked at Bill Parcells and Jeff Ireland. I just shook my head like, this is not going to get it done. Chad, and it was a mess, man. Like, he was just so in his head. Like, athletes get so caught up in their head. Just go out there and play. Like, just play. They just mechanics. They used to call them the robot. Like, man, it's open. Just throw it, bro. Throw it. Anyways.
All right, next one, guys. Fact or foolish, the Philadelphia Eagles finish next season as the #1 seed in the NFC.
You want me to start this one, Ashley?
You can go ahead.
All right, so I'm going to go to NFL now. I'm going to go to standings. I like doing this. So I'm going to NFC. You got Philly. You got the Cowboys. You got the Philadelphia Eagles may not be #1 in their division next year. Ooh. I'm being honest, and I love Jalen. I love this team. I love the moves they made. But I think the New York Giants are going to be tougher this year, and that's saying a lot. The Cowboys, I feel like Dak Prescott. Like, where's Dak Prescott right now?
He's training.
Where's he at?
Hopefully grinding.
That's what I mean. I feel like Dak got a.
He's underground cooking.
I feel like Dak got a the biggest chip on his shoulder that he's ever had, and he's been through a lot. I'm not counting Dak Prescott out. So I'm going to say foolish here, Ashley, because they may not even be #1 in their division next year. And I know a lot of people may flame me here, but it's a good ball always being played in this division.
I'm glad you came on to the side that I've been on.
And the Commanders, don't make that face. Ron Rivera, you get him a quarterback?
Do they have a quarterback?
Defense? I say if you give him one. Where are they picking right now in the draft? The draft order. Let's go right now. So the draft, you got the Commanders sitting where? What if they go get Lamar? I know they said they're out on Lamar, but could it be just talk? Could it just be talk?
I'm saying foolish because in order to be #1 seed in the NFC, that would mean that you're coming out of your division #1, and you're not. So,
Commanders picking at 16 this year.
Oh, thank you, because my internet's not working.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. But, you know, like I always say, you know, in all seriousness, the NFC East is the best reality show in the NFL. You know, you look at the winners of that division, and there's never been a back-to-back winner for the last, I want to say, 15 years.
Really?
I believe it's 15 years. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's extremely difficult to repeat in that division because it's so unpredictable. Just going in the concept of probability and history, my answer is no. Foolish.
Listen, if they get it done with everything you just said, then you got to take Jalen Hurts serious as a top 5 quarterback for real.
Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback for me.
Oh, you
said he was top 2.
I'm talking about collectively the whole conversation. People really going to have to take him serious because I still think there's a huge population of people that don't believe. I mean, right? And it's still young, and that's good. He's just finished year 3.
It's insane to say that a quarterback fresh off of a Super Bowl is not in the top 5.
It's not, though.
It kind of is.
Well, I mean, because a lot of times we can go and look at some of the teams that made it through defense in the running game, right?
But that's not the Eagles. A big chunk of the reason that we're there is because of Jalen Hurts. And I'm not an Eagles fan. I'm not an Eagles supporter. I'm not an Eagles defender. But game is game, and recognized game. And you can't say that a quarterback fresh off of a Super Bowl appearance, fresh off of winning their division, fresh off of the season that he had, is not even in the top 5. You can make an argument not top 2, and that's my argument for me. He's not top 2, but not top 5 is egregious.
So am I far off by saying Jalen Hurts is a top 2 quarterback? Am I far off?
No, because he's top 5, but top 2 is a little.
Give me
in a league where there's Aaron Rodgers and there's Patrick Mahomes.
Give me your top 3 right now.
It would be
Ashley Nicole Moss is the general manager of the New York Jets, and we don't have a quarterback. You can have any quarterback you want. Who are you getting?
Any quarterback that I want?
Well, give me your top 3. You got to put your board together.
Top 3 for me is Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, that's 1. Mm-hmm. In a league where Aaron Rodgers still exists, Aaron Rodgers is up there.
This is tough. This last one is tough. Joe Burrow.
Yeah, for me, it'd probably be Joe Burrow. I'd probably put Joey B in my top 3.
Can you see? All right, let me throw.
But then Jalen Hurts would be right after him for me.
All right, let me throw a quick factor foolishness. So we're
Top
good
5.
with this one. So we both went foolish there. Really quick, this is for Corey, our super producer, Corey in the Cut, and Ashley Nicole Moss. Joe Burrow will be QB1 after this year. Fact or foolish?
You mean QB1 in the league?
Yes.
After next year?
No.
He owns Patrick Mahomes right now. Look at the record. It's about winning and losing. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Look at his record.
I'll say foolish.
I can't. I can't. I can't.
Yeah.
Is he winning a Super Bowl next year?
I didn't add. That's not the question.
No, but that's the difference
Fact or
maker.
foolish?
It doesn't matter. Like if he's not winning a Super Bowl next year, if you don't have him winning the Super Bowl next year, he's not ahead of Patrick Mahomes.
So you got a foolish.
It's a foolish.
And you have
he's
foolish
top 3
score?
for sure.
Yeah, I got
He's top 3
foolish.
for sure. For sure.
In order for him to pass Patrick Mahomes, I'd say like he'd have to win a few Super Bowls for me to even kind of consider him better than Patrick Mahomes. But right now, I think he's trailing him.
He's top 3 though.
Yeah.
When you talk about like top 3, that's why when
Right.
you said that
Three, I
when
have
you
him at
said
3.
that Jalen Hurts was top 2, I was like ahead of those guys. Like that's
DF says foolish. Even a Super Bowl win wouldn't do it yet.
That's what I'm saying. I would need a few. I would need a few.
Can't say fact or foolish to that one. Delapo, then he said Joe a bad boy. Who else do we have here in the chat? Will you see anything stand out to you in the chat?
Who's your top 3?
Patrick Mahomes, 1.
Can't say nobody else than Jalen.
You had
Hurts right
Jalen
here.
Hurts number 2.
Yeah.
So there you got to say Jalen Hurts.
Right.
Yeah, what we were talking about is this year.
So then Jalen Hurts is
Yeah.
number 2.
That's what we were talking about. So you got to listen to the words that I'm using, right? What have you done for me lately?
You
But if I'm
said
sitting
that
back,
he's a
I
top
said,
2.
right
he's
now
top
he
2.
is, because I'm going off of what have you done for me lately. Right now, he was just in the Super Bowl and he played lights out all year. So, all right, let me do it this way. So yes, Jalen Hurts number 2, and so Patrick, Jalen, and this is tough for me because I like Joe Burrow, but Aaron Rodgers is special. I've never seen anything like that. I probably should put him number 1. But if I'm sitting here as a general manager, right, and I'm picking a quarterback, and I'm not going off of just this past year, I'm going Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow.
So then you're admitting that Jalen Hurts is
No,
not
I'm not
top 2.
admitting that. There's 2 different conversations.
No,
it's just like we're saying, who's the best wide receiver? Who's the best
going
this?
into this season?
But we're talking about what I said 2-3 weeks ago when we were talking about
You said that Jalen Hurts was top 2. You said
no,
verbatim.
we said who's the right now in the league.
You said he's top 2.
This conversation's about the best quarterbacks. Like I'm talking about as a general manager sitting here and you have to put your team together. That's a totally different conversation for me. It's just like
not.
It's just like MVP. Okay, like to me, it's the same conversation. Who's the most valuable player in the NBA right now? That doesn't mean you're going to pick him number 1 overall.
Brandon.
Are you going to pick? So right now, in the NBA, we have Joker or we have Embiid. That's probably going to win the MVP. Maybe Giannis. Giannis might be creeping in there. So it's a toss-up between those 3. Okay. Let's say Joker won the last 2 years. Does that mean you're going to pick Joker as your number 1 overall player?
Brandon, you're sidestepping. If you are the general manager and you're putting your board together, you said verbatim
I did not say
that
no, I didn't.
Jalen Hurts is a top 2 quarterback, meaning in the league right now. You can't switch your list because now you're a general manager and you're saying, oh, well, that's not what it is. No, you had him top 2. So when you say your list, go Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, and who's your third person? Because Jalen Hurts, you said verbatim, is a top 2 quarterback.
So I'm going to paper route right now, and I'm sure this clip exists. And the clip around Jalen Hurts, can we pull that, please? Because Ashley likes to put words in my mouth. That wasn't the conversation around Jalen Hurts.
You said verbatim he is a top 2 quarterback.
Right now.
So if you're putting your
You're not
board
listening to me.
together
You're not listening
of
to
your
me.
top 3 quarterbacks, how is Jalen Hurts not number 2?
Two different
Looking at
conversations.
the landscape of all the quarterbacks in the NFL.
Right now, who is the top quarterback? Okay. I'm going off of what have you done for me lately. Okay. Right now. But if we're talking about over the next 5-10 years, I asked you to be the general manager of the Jets. And any quarterbacks available, who do you take? That's what I asked you. And then you spent this thing into this whole, defame Brandon Marshall campaign. That's basically what you just did. You don't see that as 2 different conversations? And then y'all put the solo shot on me right now? Like, y'all are y'all get a kick out of making me look foolish on this show.
Brandon, you asked me who my top 3 quarterbacks were.
Somebody help me.
Corey, did he not ask me who my top 3 quarterbacks were?
Yeah, you did.
That was the question. Who are your top 3 quarterbacks right now?
What happened to the part where I was like, hey, Ashley, you're the general manager. You can pick anybody.
You asked me who my top 3 quarterbacks were right now.
Yeah.
Okay, those are my top 3. You had Jalen Hurts at number 2, so if you're making your top 3 right now, Jalen Hurts has to be number 2. Those are the rules. Stand by what you said. Don't finagle your way out of this.
He's a good quarterback, man. Keep him at 2.
This whole defame Brandon Marshall campaign got to stop. Y'all did this last week to me.
Oh my God!
Now you doing this? Like, that's all. You get a kick out of trying to make me look foolish.
The chat says it's the exact same question.
Let me see what the chat. What are they saying? I don't see the chat saying anything like this.
Great point, Brandon.
No.
It's the same question, Brandon. It's the same. He said someone said question. I thought it's the same.
All right,
question.
Can I do it this way?
Someone said we can't help you, B. Marsh.
Barry said, "Wow, got to be careful, B." Let me say it this way. I can't help you with this, B. Marshall Marlin. Burdette. Hopefully I said your last name right. Brandon, you need to take a master class from Stephen A. Smith on how to deflect the truth. She got you, bro. No help you. No, let me my last shot at it.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. I feel a lot of times we don't do this. We hold on to the past. Like when we talk about who's the best player right now, who's the best quarterback right now, or the best wide receiver, or the best whatever right now, we tend to go with the person that have the biggest name and have the best career going for themselves. But a lot of times when you look at it and you really put on the film, the best quarterback or the best wide receiver or the best two-guard or player in the NBA is someone different than the household name. And so when we look at the reason why I said he's a top 2 quarterback, because no one will put him as a top 2 quarterback. But when you look at it, it's like, no, a quarterback's job is to lead. A quarterback's job is to win. A quarterback's job is to be efficient. And he was super efficient, and he got his team to a Super Bowl. So it was disruptive. I'm going off of the moment. But if I'm a general manager right now and I'm looking at, who do I want to draft? Who do I want to trade for? Who do I want to take? That discussion changes for me, right? And that's why I try to use the NBA analogy, is because I have Embiid as my MVP. But if I'm a general manager and I can pick anybody in the NBA right now, I'm not going with Embiid. I'm going with Kevin Durant. I'm going with potentially even Steph Curry. Hell, and I might even go with King James still. So did I work myself out of that? Oh my goodness. Let me see what the chat say. I think I've worked myself out of it. Lamar, let me see. Oh, come on, chat. Help me out here.
Not finding what you was looking for?
Hold on. The chat.
You throwing a lifeline. Everybody looking around like
Brandon Marshall tripping. Hurts isn't top 2 in the league.
We conceded from
Brandon was
out
cooking,
he was
though.
like this.
He said, return of whom? He said Brandon was cooking, though. It is possible to be a top 2 quarterback for one season, but not being a top 2 quarterback overall. Thank you. Put him on the show.
That's
Warren
not
Thomas.
What you
Warren
said.
Thomas. That's what I'm basically saying.
That's what you're saying now. That's not
goodness.
what you said. But I deflect.
And then Bari.
I get it.
Says,
now.
I see what B's saying.
I'm gonna let you live.
All right, let's move on.
All right, so we're going to go to our last Factor Foolish statement, right? So in honor of the big game tonight, I got for you guys, UConn men's basketball
the big game
captures their 5th NCAA tournament championship tonight. Factor Foolish.
The big game is over, Corey. It ain't going to get any bigger than what we saw.
I'm gonna say fact just because I can't I hope San Diego State burns. But in all seriousness, bias aside, UConn's an incredible team, well coached. I mean, they're dominant. You saw what they did to Miami, and that's a great program. San Diego State, FAU, my Owls were giving it to them all game. Just don't see how they're going to go ahead and compete with the size, the talent on both ends of that court, rather. My money's on UConn. I mean, I just think they're the better team in this matchup. So
I'll be honest with you guys, and I know they're coming here to talk sports. A lot of times, like
He doesn't care.
I know when to talk. Yeah, exactly.
I know he's gonna say I don't care.
Right. You want to talk basketball? I know how to talk basketball. I'm a fan. I can't talk on the level of Ashley Nicole Moss or Steven Jackson, but I can hold my own. Like when you hear me talking about Joel Embiid, I can give you some facts there. But now we talking college basketball. I know it's March Madness. I ain't watching, Ashley. I'm not watching tonight. I'll be honest with you. I'm watching the highlights. So this isn't that important to me. So fact or foolish, I'll say fact. They're a bigger name. When they walk into their facilities every single day, that's all they see are those banners. They see all the greats that came before them, right? And so that's just thrown in their face every single day. They're probably, can I say more ready?
Sure.
Ready.
They're more ready right now than. Who are they playing? San Diego?
San Diego State.
San Diego State. San Diego State's happy to be there, but we've seen some crazy things happen in this tournament over the years, right? These Cinderella stories. So it can definitely happen, but there's a lot of energy behind this UConn team. Yeah. You feel good about today? How you feel? You had to get some things off your chest. I feel like you was coming at me earlier. You was ready. The way this show started, you was like, okay, what is he about to say?
No, I just think it's important. While I do agree that the stage that game was on, the eyes, I think a lot of people tuned in to watch. It was great for the WNBA. I mean, and women's basketball from college leading to the WNBA was great. I think the conversation surrounding these two incredible ball players was not great. And I think that it's very unfortunate that we're having this conversation because they deserve better. We should be talking about how dominant they were this entire season. Yeah. We should be talking about LSU having a dominant performance in the fourth quarter. We should be talking about how both of these young women are going to be great for the WNBA, and we're not talking about that first. And that's what's unfortunate.
How would you feel about talking to her tomorrow and bringing her live on to Paper Route?
We should. I would love to hear what she has to say.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So I got the PJ. I got a private plane. Kenneth, my boy, he has his own jet. He's willing to take us to Louisiana and sit down with her. Are you ready to ride?
Sure. This is my first time on a private jet.
For
Contrary to what social media says, I've never been on a private jet and I've never sat courtside. So there goes those stereotypes.
So tell the people who we're going to sit down with, Ashley.
Should I say it or should we wait and surprise them?
How you want to do it?
We'll surprise them.
Paper Route, baby. Hey, we love y'all so much. This is so much fun. It's a lot of hard work. Great job, Manderville. Great job, Nagin. Great job, JP. Great job, Corey. And I'm saying great job because you got to deal with me every single day. Okay? But you guys are doing a phenomenal job launching the show. We have an audience that is growing, an audience that continue to come back. So I just want to say thank you guys. There's a lot of things happening when it comes to sports media, this whole new media space. So for us to be able to have a platform on YouTube to give our thoughts and our opinions unapologetically, organically, is a big deal. That didn't happen, Ashley, when I was playing ball. Like, it's totally different time. Even how athletes approach the media, how we talked, in the platforms that, we were able to sit down with. Like, there was only ESPN. There was only, the Sentinel or the Tribune, right? Like, men and women on the beat. Now, people are willing to sit down with you and I on whether it's YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, it don't matter. So it's a beautiful thing. So thank you guys. Make sure you guys subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your aunties, tell your boyfriend, your girlfriend to tap in. We got it all. We talk a lot about relationships too. Should we have a segment about relationships?
Sure, not today, but maybe in the future. Everyone loves our relationship analogies, so.
Big show tomorrow. We're going live with a champion. So tune in tomorrow at noon. Thank you for watching Kevin Gates, the weekly episode that premiered at noon today. If you haven't, go back and tap that. We'll see you guys tomorrow. The private plane should be landing in 3 hours. Ashley, is that enough time for you to go home, pack your bag, and be prepared? Is that enough time? And what are you going to wear so I can match your outfit?
Don't worry about what's going on.
I want to match you. I want to match you.
We are not the Olsen twins.
But we always kind of like, even your outfit today, like what I'm going to put on after, it
Show me
kind of
shorts.
matches. You want to show them the shorts?
Show them the shorts. Chat, are these not some of the shortest shorts you have? Why are his shorts so tight? Look how tight this man's shorts are. Oh, no, they were tighter before. He pulled them down. He came in. The shorts were like halfway up his thigh. He changed them.
With them quads. Boy, you got them quads. Man. I heard the quads in. I heard the ladies love the quads, Ashley. Ladies don't love quads.
Ladies love Cool J. Lady love quads.
So what had happened was I was supposed to change, and my Uber was late. And so, this was just my workout clothes. I ain't even matching. Look, I got white. What y'all call these in New York? What y'all call these?
Those are downtowns.
I know.
Downtowns, uptowns.
Downtowns.
All right.
Someone said they're hoochie daddy shorts.
Send us out. Send us out. And do the thing you do, Ashley.
Ciao. Arrivederci.
Call me